Testing. I'm not sure if we're live. It's taking an unusual amount of time to say you're live. It's just spinning. Let me check in with the chat. Are we live, chat? We're live? Okay, we're live. Sorry about the long delay. On my screen, I wait for it to say you're live, but it didn't want to say that this time. So, anyhow, yesterday we talked about this. If you're on Patreon, you got this information before the game happened. And again, 9 straight years have shown you just how rigged sports are. And, pretty often there's major rituals that just expose how rigged it truly is. And yesterday, game 7 for the Dallas Mavericks and game 7 for the Dallas Stars, the first ever time in U.S. sports history that there were 2 game 7s on the same day for one city. Again, just take a look at this ritual for what went down in Dallas. And shout out to Big Al. Big Al went 3 for 3 yesterday, longtime student of the work, and he nailed it. He had the Celtics over the Bucks, the Mavs over the Suns, and the Flames over the Dallas Stars. And he followed it all through the simple knowledge of gematria. But anyhow, with regards to the 2 game 7s in Dallas on the same day, of course, the biggest sports star in Dallas right now is arguably number 77, Luka Doncic. And notice his birthday is February 28th, and the games on Sunday, May 15th, were on his 77th day of his age. And he's in the Western Conference Finals for the first time. And, of course, the Suns got blown out by 33 points on the 33rd parallel. But here's the deal. Look at the teams that played. The Suns, the Stars, and the Flames. We're going to bring all this together. Of course, the Sun is technically a star, and when you think the Sun, you think heat like flames. But look how perfect this is. The Flames yesterday stayed on 77 regulation losses versus the Stars. The Flames stayed on 77 regulation losses versus the Stars. That was the clue that they would probably win the game in the massive 77 ritual that was. And the Flames did prevail over the Dallas Stars. It was a trade-off. One Dallas team loses. The other Dallas team moves on to the Western Conference Finals in the NBA. But the Flames improved to 87, 77, 25, and 9. They don't do the ties anymore, but back in the day they had ties. That's what 9 is. And then the 25, the regulation or overtime losses. But anyhow, 77 right there. In gematria, stars equals 77. And again, it's as simple as A, B, C is 1, 2, 3. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. By the time you get up to S, it's the 19th letter. T's the 20th. R's the 18th. You just add it up, star 77, right? So the Stars are part of this ritual while the Mavericks play the Suns, right? And, another thing that really stood out about yesterday's games is Don Nelson, who used to coach the Mavericks and the Warriors, which is now the Western Conference Finals. It was his birthday. Don Nelson's birthday on the day that the Western Conference Finals become set between the 2 teams he used to coach. And the thing about yesterday is it was May 15th, which is Mercuarlia, to celebrate Mercury. And of course, Phoenix, it is the home of the WNBA team, the Phoenix Mercury, the closest planet to the sun, the hottest planet. And notice what happened. Oh, did I forget to put the screenshot in here? I hate when I do that. I think I forgot to put the screenshot in here. Here, we'll get to the stat one more time. I got to go to statmuse.com. Great website for stats. And if we just type in Suns all-time record versus Mavs, including playoffs, we'll see that the Suns became, they fell to 103 wins and 84 losses. Yesterday, that's what happened to the Suns. By them losing, they became 103 and 84. Hold on, I got to put this in the right tab so you can see it. So this is statmuse.com, great website for pro sports stats. It hasn't added college stats yet, but they say they're going to do that in the future. That'll be super handy. But anyhow, the Suns fell to 103 and 84. And why does that matter? It matters because when you know gematria, you can see right through the ritual. This was on Mercuarlia to celebrate Mercury. They stayed on 103 wins, where Mercury's 103. So is Jesuits. Again, that's who controls the NBA and, the rigged news, the rigged elections. That's who controls the world. When you hear New World Order, you might as well just scratch out that phrase and write in Jesuit World Order, because that's what it really is. The same Jesuits that served the Catholic Church, that invented the calendar, that all these rituals are synced up on, that the English language is credited to. But anyhow, Mercury and Jesuits 103. If you just do the singular, Jesuit and Sunday 84. The Suns became 103 and 84 versus the Mavs all time, and a nice Sunday ritual. And again, why didn't the Suns and Mavs play on Saturday? They should have. It was every other day until this last one that they had to move to Sunday for the Suns. Can't get more Catholic than Sunday. But keep in mind, that was the 187th game between the two teams. Society of Jesus 187. That's the formal title of the Jesuits. And again, one of the big stories right now, the Phoenix Mercury player, Brittany Griner, that's supposedly, imprisoned in Russia, which is another part of the psychological operations. Again, that whole thing's a big Jesuit ritual by the numbers. It's how we predicted the date it would start, dead on as we did. But anyway, just these rituals, these numbers. Keep in mind the name Griner equals 91. Remember, the whole thing popped off with Russia, Ukraine right before Gorbachev's 91st birthday, when they used to be the same nation back in 91 before the Soviet Union fell apart. But again, sports and news, it's all synced up. It's all ritualistic. And, with regards to Hollywood putting out a new Top Gun movie, Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, go figure that the Mavericks are in the Western Conference Finals this year. And the Heat are in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Mavs have only been to 2 finals before. Both times they did face the Heat. And if you want my opinion on what's going to happen in the conference finals in the West and East, put that information out on Patreon. And we'll do a live stream tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on the conference finals. The notes are already up for what I think is going to happen in the conference finals, but we'll talk about it more. We'll take people's calls who are interested. So that's tomorrow, Tuesday, May 17th, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, before the first game of the conference finals. But I think there's a pretty clear clue. And if you have access to the Patreon, you can get those notes right now. Again, they're really hyping that 75 this year. And by the way, Don Nelson's full name in Gematria is 75 for the 75th NBA season. He's got his 2 former teams that he coached in the Western Conference Finals. And again, it gets set on his birthday, on his 82nd birthday, where there's an 82-game season in the NBA and the NHL. And that's because the gematria of game is equals to 82. And keep in mind, Don Nelson played for the Celtics, coached the Bucks. They were also playing yesterday on his birthday. He wore number 19 for the Celtics. The Celtics win with 109 points, key digits 19. But again, you guys, pro sports are so scripted. And again, the people that are in these leagues, a lot of them were born and bred to be, so that the rituals can be perfectly executed as it was yesterday. Luka Doncic, born and bred to be, so that his 77th day of his age could fall on Don Nelson's birthday. And this season, the 75th NBA season, where Don Nelson's Mr. 75. Again, learn gematria, pay attention to the numbers day after day. You can make a killing, as so many people have in this community. So many people have changed their life. So many people don't have a day job anymore. A lot of people in this community who've been following the knowledge for years, built up the bankroll. They're now teaching the knowledge. Their new job is teaching gematria. They got their own Patreon pages. Again, we've created a whole community and culture here of people sharing this information. And still, hardly anyone in the world knows, because most people, they're not looking for truth. They're not looking for information. They're still thinking these games aren't rigged. I mean, I don't even know how it's possible that you can't see it. For all the Phoenix Suns fans out there, again, you're the latest victim of the energy harvest. It's not an accident that you lost by 33 points on the 33rd parallel, when 33 is the number that represents humanity because of the 33 bones in the human vertebrae. In gematria, people and person equal 33. So does secrecy, so does order, so does masonry. But anyway, special numbers, special rituals, big energy harvest. How's the number 1 seed, the top team in the NBA all year, going to get smoked in the most important game of the season on their home court and hardly even look like they showed up? But this stuff happens all the time. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I'll never forget Game 7 Western Conference Finals. Blazers up about 20 points going into the fourth quarter against the Lakers. How did the Blazers come out and play in the fourth quarter? Did they milk the clock like you should with a 20-point lead? Nope. They rushed down the court. They threw the ball out of bounds. They rushed down the court and shot deep threes. They didn't try to defend. They didn't try to rebound. And then next thing you know, they lost to the Lakers. And it's like, well, I mean, you can't tell me that they weren't just all paid off to lose. You can't tell me that they weren't following some kind of orders to blow the game in the fourth quarter. You know, you got a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter. You're on the verge of going to a championship, and you're going to come out and play like that, like you never played basketball before, you know? But this stuff goes on every year, you know? The next year, it was the Lakers and Sacramento Kings series, and it looked even worse. And even Ralph Nader got involved and wrote a letter about how it looked like, you know, the NBA must be fixed. And I mean, it's just the same thing year after year in all these sports. But again, they're all rigged and scripted together. Some of you are like, oh, well, I don't think the NHL's rigged. Sorry, buddy. We've been proving it for years. They're all rigged and scripted. You learn the code. You see through the games day after day. And again, the trolls, that's the other thing too about YouTube. You know, they're deleting everyone's likes and comments, but then they let the trolls post. And sure enough, the trolls will be posting, this is all after the fact. Again, wrong again. It's never always been after the fact. We've been proving it year after year, calling futures, games by the thousands, dead on, you know, talking about specific numbers that end up being the score again and again and again. And, you know, yesterday we saw the 77 ritual. Put it out there for all the people still on the Patreon. And again, for all you guys who left, I only charge $5 a month. You would have made all your $5 back and more had you hung around for that Dallas Mavericks tip. They were a nice dog yesterday. So again, for the people who are not supporting the work, you better ask yourself, why not? No one ever taught you more important knowledge in the world. And that goes for everybody, even all my haters. No one ever taught you more important knowledge in the world to free you from the matrix of lies and deception, rigged news, rigged sports. What'd they just do to you? Just a few days ago, they announced the season opener for the NFL, Rams Buffalo. And then 2 days later, you got a shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo and at Grand Central Market in LA. And where Buffalo Bills equals 117, Grand Central equals 117, and the shootings in the two cities on the same day is 117 days before the opener. Again, sports and news, all the same. For all the people in Dallas, remember when you had the 7-7 police shootings? This number's been present in your city for longer than Luka Doncic has been there. And, yeah, so... You know, if you want to continue to think all this stuff's a coincidence, you're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting yourself in a lot of ways. Financially, you're hurting yourself. Your energy, you're going to continue to waste it on a completely rigged and scripted outcome. Just think about how many people in Phoenix are so sad and depressed. Think about all the little kids growing up who don't know better yet. They're idolizing the Devin Bookers of the world, and they're just singing the blues today. How did we get wasted like that? And again, that should remind you what kind of people run these leagues. Sick psychopaths that don't care about anybody, even the little children that they get into these games, only to milk their energy. Like they're straight out of Monsters, Inc. Don't forget that movie Monsters, Inc. came out right after 9/11, the movie that told you they do it to milk the negative energy out of people. And again, that should tell you how they synced up, you know, the shooting with the football game. Like they don't do the same thing to NFL fans year after year. They love to punk a home crowd. And again, it's the Jesuits through and through. This movie Top Gun Maverick is going to come out on the 144th day of the year. Again, Jesuit Order 144. So. They did a Kentucky Derby. The movie Long Shot comes out on Friday, and then Saturday, the longest shot in the horse race wins. They did it again this year at the Kentucky Derby. The longest odds won again all week. 20 horses to bet on. At the last minute, they pull D. Wayne Lucas's horse, and then they stick in Rich Strike, and then Rich Strike takes the race. And I'm sure he was on all kinds of boosters and whatever else he was on. He was running twice as fast as every other horse at the end of that race. Pretty much dead last to first in the final leg of the race. But again, the entire world of sports is rigged. Everyone should know this. I mean, if sports weren't rigged, how would the casino always win, you guys? I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to figure out who's going to win a sports game. Go watch sports that aren't rigged. You know, like a little kids league, right? Usually in a little kids league, there's one team that's somehow more dominant than the others. They usually beat every game. Their team's usually bigger than everybody else. You know, they don't lose games. They beat everybody. They're the best team in the league. It's not like there's Vegas action on. They're like, oh, tonight, man, this team that hasn't won any pays 8-1 and they could beat that team. And then they do. I mean, that would never happen. They're just going to get smoked every night. The best team wins. For all you guys who played sports, you know how it is. If you're the better team, you don't lose to the worst team. You go out and kick their ass. But that's not how pro sports is. Pro sports got any given Sunday. Oh my God, what happened to them tonight? Wow, it's almost like they forgot to play basketball tonight. Wow, what kind of decision? What was the coach thinking tonight? It's because pro sports are a joke. You know, sports would not be a hard thing to gamble on if it wasn't rigged. You'd know who the best team is. Oh, best pitcher in the league. Oh, best hitting team in the league. I wonder who's going to win the game tonight. Oh, what happened, man? Best pitcher in the league gave up 8 runs in the first inning? Man, how'd that happen? Because it was fixed. And then you look at the Gematria and you're like, oh, no wonder he gave up 8 runs tonight, you know. Again, day after day, you take this knowledge and you just look at the sports and you go, wow, now I see what happened. Now I see what happened. I mean, it's the same thing day after day. Day after day. I can't emphasize it enough. So we'll leave it there for now. You can't get more 77 than yesterday, but the thing is, they'll do it again. They will do it again. And we'll keep it short and sweet. I'll be back with another live stream in just a few minutes on Gematria Effect News 25. Remember, I am posting on Gematria Effect Sports, Gematria Effect News 25, Gematria Effect News 24, 23, 22. We got all those channels going right now. I need 4 different news channels to shuffle them because I get so many strikes. It's the new method to try and not get any channels deleted. When I get 2 strikes, then I got to move on to the next one. Then when the 2 strikes drop, we go back to the old channel. So we're shuffling channels. Make sure you're following them all. Otherwise, you're going to be missing the content. And, of course, I'm also on Twitter where I post a lot. So, anyway, sports are rigged. Wake up. Stop denying the facts. Stop denying what we've been showing you for 9 years. And, again, for all of you who denied it for all this time, you haven't been patting your pockets like the big owls of the world. And for those of you guys listening to my trolls, understand you're probably listening to Fed agents who are posting from the nation's capital, from CIA offices, because those are the only people that are denying this work. People with their head way up their ass and the feds who don't like it and the bookies in casino, you know, the Vegas bookies. I mean, these are the only people going against me. There isn't anyone who's, you know, I mean, again, there's no normal human being that should be going against me. It just wouldn't make any sense. Nobody else helped you put more money in your pocket. Nobody else helped free you from the matrix. Nobody else ever taught you a better lesson than what you learned on this channel for the last 9 years going. And those are all facts. So if you doubt it, look into it and find out for yourself. And ask yourself why I've been censored so many times. Anyway, we'll leave it there. And until next time.